Are you looking for your first dirt bike but you can't spend more than $2,000? I'm going to show you the best starter bikes for riding off-road and learning on that are still reliable, still low maintenance. The first one is the Honda XR200. Honda started making it in 1980, I believe, and made it all the way to 2002 here in the US. The best years were from 86 to 91 if you want a little bit better suspension, but they're all really solid models. It's kickstart only, but it's lightweight. It has a nice low seat height. So if you're in the 5'5" to 5'9" height range, you're going to fit the ground really well and be able to touch the ground, which will give you more confidence. And the 2-valve air-cooled engine is easy to start, and it has very smooth linear power, which makes it easy to learn on and control. First gear is super low, so that learning how to use the clutch, get going in first gear makes it super easy so that you're not constantly stalling or falling and getting frustrated. They're starting to go up in value, but you still should be able to find a good running one for under $2,000 pretty easily. Next is the Yamaha TTR 225. They were made in the 90s and I believe early 2000s, and it's noticeably heavier than the XR200, but it does have electric start, and it's again a super solid engine that's very reliable as long as you do simple maintenance like oil changes and air filter. It also has a nice low seat height, so as long as you can handle a little bit more weight, it's a great starter bike that's super reliable. And if you're looking to use my 20+ years of experience of choosing, looking at, finding and buying the right type of dirt bike for you, I'm now offering consulting where you can get my one-on-one help. You can go to motocrosshideout.com/consult or click the link in the description below. Bike number 3 is the Yamaha TTR 230. It's basically the updated version of the TTR 225. It has updated body plastics, and it's a little bit narrower and a little bit more modern feeling. It still has electric start, no backup kickstart. The power is very smooth. It's super easy to ride, and they're still being made today, so parts are going to be super easy to find, and you can find one fairly easily for under $2,000 depending on your area, because Yamaha started making them back in 2005 and they really haven't changed. Bike number 4 is the Honda CRF 230F. This is the updated version of the XR200, where it's a little bit bigger engine, has a little bit more torque, which helps if you're a little bit heavier rider, and it has electric start, no backup kickstart, but as long as you keep the battery charged, you don't really have to worry about it. These are getting harder to find, at least for a reasonable price, because Honda stopped making them in 2019. So since they updated to the CRF 250F, the 230s have kind of started going up in price. So finding one for under $2,000 might be a bit challenging, but if you wait long enough, I'm sure you can find one. And they haven't really changed since 2003, other than the updated body plastics in 2015, I believe. There's a few minor changes throughout the years, but overall, it's basically the same bike. And if you want individual reviews on these bikes, I got links in the description below to each one of these. Moving up to a little bit taller of a dirt bike is the Yamaha TTR 250. So it's a 250cc dual overhead cam, and the seat height is a little bit taller. So this is a better choice if you're at least 5'8" tall, because it's a little bit wider, it's a little bit longer, has a little bit more power, a little bit more stable. The suspension and the chassis are a little bit beefier. So if you're a little bit bigger of a rider and don't want a 200 or a 230 because it's a little small, the TTR 250 is a great choice because, again, it still has a solid engine that's reliable, the power is very smooth, and it's just an overall great beginner or trail riding bike. And it does have electric start, which makes it really nice if you don't want to kick your dirt bike over. Next is the Honda XR 250. It was made in the 80s, 90s, up to 2004 here in the US, and it's overall super solid bike. It's similar to the XR200, but it's a little bit taller, a little bit bigger, a little bit more stable, a little bit more power and suspension, and I believe it's slightly lighter than the TTR 250, probably because it doesn't have electric start. It's kickstart only, so if you prefer kickstart, the XR250 is a great choice. Next is the Suzuki DRZ 250. It's very similar to the TTR 250 as far as the power, the suspension, the overall specs and dimensions. The main difference is it's a little bit heavier, but it also has kickstart. So if you don't want to have electric start only, the DRZ 250 is a super good choice if you're a little bit bigger of a rider and don't mind having a yellow bike. And the DRZ 250 has adjustable suspension, which is really nice if you like tuning it for your weight and riding style to make it a little bit softer or stiffer. Next is the Kawasaki KLX 300R. Now, Kawasaki did update them a few years ago in 2019 with fuel injection and electric start, so those aren't going to be under $2,000. But they were making them back in the 90s up to 2007, I believe. And it was a competitor to the TTR 250 and the DRZ 250 and the Honda XR 250. But it has 300 cc's and it's liquid cooled and a little bit more modern of suspension with the upside down forks. So it can handle a little bit bigger of a rider due to the suspension and a little bit more torque. And even though it does have a liquid cooled engine, it is not like a 4-stroke enduro race bike where it's super snappy. The KLX 300 has very good, very smooth low end torque, so you can just putt up the hills and ride at lower to mid-range RPM. And next in this beginners series, I'm going to cover the best short dirt bikes for teens, females, or if you just have short legs here for under $1,500, or if you want to know what to look for when buying a used bike, I got a breakdown of a simple checklist here. I'm Kelly Fager from Motocross Hideout. Learn more, ride more.